Here's what's making news now around Indiana, brought to you by your Indiana Pacers. Well, the mayor of South Bend will not seek a third term. Pete Buttigieg, whose current term ends in just over a year, said during a news conference this week his administration will continue to work hard during that time to, quote, accomplish our mission to deliver services that empower everyone to thrive. Lieutenant Governor Suzanne Crouch has selected Misty Weisensteiner as director of the Indiana Office of Tourism Development. Weisensteiner, who most recently served as executive director of the Orange County Economic Development Partnership, will begin her new role January 14. A new study shows the economic impact of the Indiana State Fairgrounds is growing. That study, conducted by the IU Kelley School of Business, says events at the fairgrounds, as well as the renovation of the Indiana Farmers Coliseum, generated a direct economic impact of more than $197 million in 2017. That's more than 22% higher than the previous study in 2011. And Fort Wayne-based Parkview Health cut the ribbon this week on two new multi-purpose facilities. The Parkview Sports Medicine Field Turf and Performance Center are the result of a nearly 2-year partnership between the health system and Empowered Sports Club in Fort Wayne. Well, the state's new director of broadband opportunities is taking on the enormous task of helping to bring high-speed, reliable, and affordable internet access to the entire state. Scott Rudd has been on the job but just a few months now and will be working with farmers and others in rural Indiana, as well as the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs, to collaborate with communities. And for more, let's welcome Scott Rudd to the show. Scott, welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And your job, I think, just by virtue of the fact this is a newly created job, underscores the fact that the state sees rural broadband access as a real issue.
Well, Gary, I can tell you, coming into this position from a rural community, still living in a rural community, I can tell you it's been absolutely refreshing to see this administration's position on rural broadband, as well as the legislature. And we've seen some incredible progress in the past 3 or 4 years, and it's exciting to be a part of that.
You mentioned your previous role. You came from Nashville and Brown County, where you really were immersed in these rural broadband issues as it relates to economic development, and were able to achieve some success there.
That's right. We started 3 or 4 years ago from scratch, essentially, not knowing how to address our issue, being 82nd in the state in terms of the county ranking for access to broadband. So we brought a team together and went to work, and were extremely fortunate to attract a significant investment of $20 million plus from 3 or 4 providers.
Talk about, for those who may not be familiar with this challenge of rural broadband access, how significant the issue is, and what really the impact is in these areas where they don't have access to broadband.
Well, Indiana lags behind the nation in terms of averages with access to broadband, and our state is unfortunately lagging behind our neighbors in terms of rural broadband access. And so we want to kind of elevate our game and go out and equip our residents with the ability to do telemedicine and acquire the top-notch education that's out there. The precision ag opportunity that's out there is just really incredible. But at the end of the day, it comes down to economic development, workforce, and school enrollment populations, you know, attracting those. I can tell you that every day we are losing family after family in rural Indiana to other communities and other states simply because we don't have rural broadband.
Yeah. Okay, you're just new to the job now, but as you look at your vision, how do you get there? How do you increase access in rural areas? What's that secret sauce to making it happen? Well,
I tell you, this is a capital-intensive industry, and significant funding has to pour into our state. And so one of the things we need to do is capture, resources and leverage those locally. And really, it's going to come down to communities engaging at this point. We've got more opportunity than ever. Just a couple days ago, USDA announced some new funding. The Farm Bill is moving through with some telemedicine funding and rural broadband funding in there. So communities, if you're listening out there, now would be a wonderful time to engage in this process and really go to work.
And I know Governor Holcomb's infrastructure package includes, I think, $90 or $100 million in funds targeted to rural broadband.
I mentioned the legislature's role in passing, key legislation leading up to that, and then the governor's announcement right around the time I came on was just incredible. I can tell you it's a breath of fresh air for rural Indiana as a resident there. I'm looking forward to helping roll that out this year.
As a final question, then, your view is, again, this is a local, really something that needs to get done at the local level. You're talking businesses, anchor institutions, the political culture infrastructure in those communities as well?
Sure. Libraries, schools, hospitals, realtors know better than anyone the impact of this, and then the business and workforce impacts are pervasive.
All right. Scott Rudd is the new Indiana Director of Broadband Opportunity. Scott, welcome to the show. I know we'll have you on a lot in the future because it's a big issue.
Thank you, Kerry.
All right.